been working on. Whoa. Is this... Am I coming through okay? So, I was working on... Let's see... Hey, I am working on a Brick Breaker clone, and so it is using the processing graphics library, and I'm just doing it in pure Java. I don't think there's anything else that I'm including. Yeah, so it's still in the pretty early stages. This is all it is right now. And I think the next thing I was working on was to refactor out the, or not refactor out, but to consolidate the game rendering as well as the game's, like basically combining all the parts and pieces I've been working on into a single manager class. That kind of draws inspiration from working in Unity, where you kind of have that idea of working in like managers. So managers for your game, your audio, and anything. Let's see, what was I thinking about? Yeah, so the game class, the game manager class, all it does is to consolidate. So like it just has a bunch of fields for the things that I need. For now, it's only the ball and the paddle. That's basically all it is. And then just runs it. So eventually, if I get around to it wanting to put it on Android, I should be able to just port the game manager instance over, and the Android is only responsible for handling the Android specific things. But yeah, I can't believe I have 2 viewers. Are you guys working with Java? So where was I? Oh, right, setup. Let's try this. Size. Not sure where I want to go with this, but the biggest reason why I have sizes is that I'm not sure if it's going to be full screen, because the Brick Breaker kind of this is more of a simulation So I want to eventually have like maybe 1,000 bricks just to see how it runs. So I'm kind of constraining it, like the app window size is going to be possibly bigger than the actual game. Okay, so Java's your main language. What do you are you working professionally in with Java, or is it just because this is just a hobby for now? I mean, other than studying other stuff. Input. I will. Nope. What happened to this? Oh. Man, I'm not used to working with such big font sizes. But it looks better on stream. But in person, this is like a huge font size. That's cool. Work in high school. I actually, for my university, I spoke to high school students about programming. So some of them make stuff way cooler than what I can because they have a lot more time to put into it. So, what was I saying? Okay, so I have a setup script that is going to set up the game within the presentation layer of the app. The setup function is going to initialize all of the objects in case I want to delay when things are being created. A paddle, let's just make it right here. So game size min is going to be equal to min size. Game size max is just going to be equal to max size. These are just for me to, again, constrain the inner game window instead of the window size being the determinant for how big the game is going to be. So this constraint right here is for your mouse, so that if you happen to point your cursor outside the window, your paddle's not going to go flying out. So I think what I was doing was constraining the mouse input that I get to the game min size min plus this is the x games max x subtract. This is the minimum size of my game window, so actually it might be better to show what it looks like. Once it checks out, oh no, it won't. It'll fail because I need to give it the setup. Let's just say game window. Where was I? Game window max is equal to new p vector. P vector is just a built-in class from this Java library called processing. I really enjoy using it. It's a bit of an abstraction, like it makes creating like desktop or even just any sort of graphics a lot simpler. It is just a layer on top of the native Java JFrame and the Swing library, but they consolidate a little bit. And also it actually has like libraries for if you want to do in JavaScript, Python, and Android even. So I mean, you don't have to make everything yourself, so that's pretty good. New p vector. So the minimum size my window is going to be let's just make it half of the actual window size. I'll make some constants for this. Static final int. So game width. The game of the actual window is gonna be less than that. 600. More like it's gonna look like Tetris. Now int game width, game height. Yeah, equals. And let's see. I think I messed up what I was trying to do. What was I trying to do? Game width 600. Width by 2, subtract game width. I want to center it, so I'm going to try this. Height. This is not the neatest. 2. Okay. 2. But we will refactor it later. Width 2 plus height. Oops. 2 plus height. 2. Let's see. Let's set up. Whoops. Game window max. See if this runs. There we go. I don't know where it went, so that doesn't work. I really should. That's why. Actually, this should be fine. Game size, minimum. Okay, so the Windows minimum is half of the width, subtract half of the game width. Let's see, what did I do for here? Width. Should be right with minimum min size, max size, max size. What was I doing? Okay, so if I have the minimum game window, let's Let's run that again. I just want to see what happened. Let's see. Let's do system. Let's print out input x. Okay, it is way outside of the bounds that I want, and it's increasing. Interesting. Why is that? Let's take a look. Constrain. Get the game size. Pretty sure this one is right because I had it working with just the paddle. As for why game size dot min does not work, let's see. Size x. Let's see what this value is. 300. That was what I expected. That means this one should be 900. Okay. So I am constrained between 300 plus the minimum of the paddle to 600. What the? That is odd. So I should be within my bounds. I should be within my 300 to whatever. What if I delete? Oh, whoops. What if I delete these? And let's try again. Nope, it's still here. So if I cannot get in bounds, then let me look up the no. I restrict. Let's see, what's the definition for this? Constrains a value to not exceed a maximum and minimum value. Minimum and maximum. That is odd, because that's exactly what I'm doing. I'm giving it game minimum dot x, and it was fine, and I am giving it game max dot x. Oh wait, this is minus, this is plus. Let's just do that again. Print line and X. You know, sometimes it feels like you just do it again and again until it what is going on? Why does it go? Printing. I feel like it's something obvious that I'm missing, but because my font size at 16. I feel like I'm not getting the whole picture. Ugh. Thinking. Do you guys have any projects you're working on? Combines all physics-based actions. See, the math doesn't really check out, which is what's confusing me, because I log this, which is 300, plus the minimum, which, I mean, I can log it, but pretty sure it's exactly what it is. Because I have test cases for these, by the way, so I'm sure the X is, or at least this one, I'm pretty sure I know what it is. Console-based chess. Whoops. That's cool. To be honest, that seems like a lot more logic than what I'm doing. I remember in high school doing, like, playing chess at lunch break. And whoa, what is this? Zero. Bob. Maybe I should look at what I had working before. Let's just try something simple. Let's just try 0. And let's just try start width. Okay, so this is working. Let's try 0 plus width. Sorry, get min. So the left bounds of my paddle and the width, subtract paddle dot get max the right bounds of my paddle, and let's see if that works. It does not work. Or I guess it does work. Not the way I wanted it to, though. Why is it only stopping in the middle? Sketch width. Oh, I see. I'm using get. I'm using the wrong ones. Get size. Okay. I was using the wrong one the whole time. This is the right one. Okay, I want to use get size, which is funny because I made these functions, but anyways, game size min.x, game size max.x, let's double check this. Okay. It is there. The reason it's farther away is because I forgot to divide by 2. And aha. There we go. It is now within the bounds that I wanted it to. Oh my gosh. That was way too long for... Sometimes it just takes time to warm up. Okay, so this is a little confusing, but I think I'm gonna leave this part. I'm gonna redo this though. I'm going to use game window. Oh, whoops. There's a constant game and game height. Whoops, wrong thing. Okay, this one. What am I doing? Okay, remove that and use game width and game height for the inner window, which is still just a white screen, because yeah, I mean, I'm not a great designer, don't worry about it. So that's that. That is all. I'm gonna put it into a commit. So I have some stuff already, so I'm going to there's a really useful program called Forget that lets you take what you need. So I'm going to put the game app is going to add what is it? What's add? It's not control A. Anyways, so added the 2 files that I changed, and I'm going to run commitison for my commits. The reason I'm doing that is because if anyone wants to check out the actual repository, it uses this conventional commit message to make release types, which is like a CI/CD workflow. I mean, it's kind of a buzzword, but basically, so I can commit and it'll perform the tests and stuff, and it will build the, right now I have an executable, but to be honest, can build it for anything. Feature, sure, feature, add game manager. It will have create class, remove object creation, consolidate object creation and rendering. Nah. Cool, that's fine. So next, I think I want to get to actually moving the ball. Even though this is on feature add game manager. But the thing is with the ball class right now is that it has everything that I need basically for collision. So object collision is broken down into narrow phase and broad phase collision. And so I have the narrow phase collision, which is like basically once you have the two objects basically close enough to each other, you're gonna say, hey, are you guys overlapping? And so I have a function to check if it's colliding with anything that is of the type box. So if you've never seen the T before, it's just a generic, which means anything of type box, because I have two other classes that are box shaped. As you know, in Brick Breaker, you have the brick .java. So this brick class is right here, it's a box type. So if it's a box type, it can go to the definition of box. So the box class has certain parameters that make me able to say, okay, anything that is a box, I should be able to get the bounds. So the functions get min and get max are for getting the basically the bounding box, the shape of how most boxes are shaped. In this game, there's nothing that's rotated, so that makes things a lot easier. You can just assume that it's going to be some sort of rectangle that has X and Y. So now how to get the ball rolling. I'm not going to do the collision. Actually, no, the collision and the movement is kind of goes hand in hand. I should need a function to handle where it's not where it starts, but basically which direction it should go to, and it should go in a different direction on collision. So the class can call itself when it collides with an object. So I guess the first thing I want to do is let's make no, actually I don't even need to make it. So I already have a movement interface for my paddle. That's how my paddle moves. And so I think all I need to do is let's first implement this interface actually. So it's going to inherit from the movement interface, and I need to actually import the interface. The movement interface is going to give me some methods. Whoops, not G. Which is set max speed and update, which I don't think the set max, actually, yeah, sure, set max speed, that's fine. Update is going to handle the actual logic. So how it works right now is I will give it a X and Y, or the game will give it an X and Y coordinate, and it will just go to that direction. So let's just make it move to that direction. The way I did it on the paddle was to just use linear interpolation. It's a lot smoother than some of the ones I tried because this is a game. So I can just do this dot position dot there's a linear interpolation function called lerp. It is just going to go to the location, and that's it. Alright, you need an amount, so I'm going to set it to the max speed, which I'm going to create as a parameter. So the parameter is private int, I think it has to be a float, max speed the right? Oh, no. So I set a max speed variable, and I am going to, it's not going to go in the constructor because I have a set max speed function. So this dot max speed is equal to limit. This is very dangerous for being able to set this, so instead I'm going to say if limit is because linear interpolation takes a value between 0 and 1, I don't really need any number greater than 0 or less than 0 or greater than 1. But just for simplicity's sake, because 1 to 100 is easier to comprehend, we're just going to do if limit is less than or equal to 0 or limit is greater than 100, we are just going to throw a new illegal argument exception. I will probably make a custom exception sometime down the line, but yeah, limit must be between 0 and 100. And so actually, instead of setting it directly equal to 0, it would just be, so directly equal to the limit, it's just going to be divided by 100. So yeah, the max speed, again, it takes in linear interpolation. It basically takes that decimal value between 0 and 1 and say, and it actually turns into percentage and say, okay, I want to move 10% of the way from here to there. That's actually 0.1, and then 0.2, 0.3, yeah, that kind of thing. So basically, if it's 1, it's gonna basically not interpolate, but we just move there. So we can test this by making a test. So creating a test case for it, which is gonna do, I think I already have a ball test. Yeah, so it's going to create a test here. So these are pretty fragile tests, testing setters and getters. I just made it just to test out my continuous integration pipeline when I first started, but the detect collision, that's an actual test. That's a good test. The other ones, don't do it, just include it if you need to, but it was mostly just for testing the test. But the only real test in this case is the detect collision. Yeah, so I'm going to test ball movement, and in this test case I want to make sure that I can either test a few things. I can test the error that's being thrown here, which is makes sense. Like, you want to try, okay, does it actually stop you from setting a max speed that's under or above your value, as well as update, make sure that your function actually changes the movement value. Like, yeah, you can test that pretty easily. So I already created a static instance of the ball, and it's like parameters up at the top of the test. So up here I already created the ball, where it is, and the size. I don't actually care about the yeah, I haven't moved it just yet, so this should be fine. If you mutate it because it's a static instance, you will need to take that into account. So because this is the only one that changes some of the values, I don't think there will be any issues. So I'm going to create a new p vector for new low position. So this is going to be where we want it to move to. So p vector, let's just put it to origin. So we're going to try to move it towards the origin. And so all we need to do is, first of all, let's set the max speed. Float max speed, or speed equals to, yeah, so here we go. So I'm going to give it an actual like value between 0 and 100 in case someone wants to use it. And set it between 0 and 100. And then all I need to do is ball.set max speed to speed. So I want to make sure that I don't have a get speed, so I won't be able to figure out what it actually is. I might do it later, but whatever. Ball.update, and it will update to the new position. And I want to assert that that the position is not the same. And I think there's a different way to do it. So I think I did this in my paddle test. Yeah, assert that. So I want to assert that my ball.getPosition is not so the reason I have to convert into an array is because testing does not test objects the same way as testing like values. So because all of my positions are stored as a XY coordinate object, the only thing that will test is that they're the same object, which obviously that doesn't make sense at all. Instead, I'm going to convert it into an array of values. So the X is a element in the array and the Y is an element in the array. And then I'm basically just checking that it is not the same as equal to the new position dot array. I think I need to do that. Import is not. The method. Why is that? Whoa. Why is it deprecated? Who's using it here? Let's see. Oh. Well, that's odd. It uses a different assert that. Dot hamcrest dot matcher. You know, and organize my imports. That is weird. So let's see. Is that right? Okay, that should be correct. So Gradle W check. Let's see if I did something wrong. No, it was fine. So let's see, where was it? The Firefox build slash reports slash test slash index. Okay, so this is what it looks like. God, it's so bright. So this is the test cases that were run. We ran 9 tests. It took quite a bit. Brick breaker it was an entity. I think the ball test was correct. Yeah, so test ball movement. Yeah, that passed. So we can log additional stuff if we want, but that's basically how it works. Writing a simple test. So let's get back to what I was doing. Okay, so now that I'm sure that my tests, I'm actually kind of doing this like not backwards, but sometimes backwards. The test-driven methodology or test-driven development says you should write your test before you actually implement it. Sometimes it's a lot easier than others. For this one, to be honest, it would have just been faster for me to write it because I already created it once. Anyways, so that is all. Yeah, so that will make sure my ball can move. I'm sure of that now because of my tests. This should be the only two things changed. I need to figure out the Eclipse and the class path thing. I think it's conflicting with something I did on. I feel like I should just ignore those files, to be honest. Something I did with Gitpod, I was out, but I wanted to do something on this project. There's this thing called Gitpod that lets you work on stuff like remotely with the Git repository, but it uses Eclipse Tria, which, yeah, I don't know, it didn't end up working very well. Yeah, let me change the panel here. I actually want to do this. Where was I? So now that this has, so I'm sure now that moves, I'm going to add the test case first as a I can just add the test as basically what I want. So I'm going to just run my git commit. So I'm going to add a test. Test is not a feature, by the way. So I'm just going to add the ball test. So test that movement logic is working. And to be honest, you can put whatever you want. Provide longer description of the change. I don't want to do that. So, in case you're wondering what's being run, Commitison is a CLI to format your commits so that they're all the same for something else that I run. Husky is a git commit pre and post commit like hook thing that lets you manage what happens before and after you run a commit. So I have it running Gradle's check task before I commit, so that I can't make a commit if the tests don't pass, just so I don't have to run it myself every time. I mean, I still run it, but it's good to keep that going And so the branch that I am, oh sorry, not branch, the plugin, this thing called semantic release, lets me release different versions automatically. I don't actually have to manually create releases. So let's make it move down. So I'm going to go to, actually no, I should just commit the other thing too. So commit the actual ball movement. This is kind of a feature, ball add movement logic. Whoops. Ball add logic satisfy test case. And then the final thing to do is to make it move. So the game manager is where everything's happening. So my update function to move is here. So I'm actually going to, so right here the paddle also has an update because it also inherits from the movement interface. So I'm just going to pull that up here. Movement is an interface, so they both have set max speed and update to a new location. I am going to add a temporary thing for my ball to update. So it's going to update to p vector. It's going to update to sketch.width, so half of the screen, and it's just going to go straight down. Let's see what happens. So what I expect, oh whoops, I'm missing a bracket. So what I expect to happen if my paddle is there is that it should move. Nope, it doesn't want to move. Oh, did I not? Ah. Rookie mistake. So I did not set the speed, which is why it's not moving. So actually I think a better idea to counteract this is to, so you can do one of two things. You can make it so that the ball you can do that thing where in update you can say, okay, if your speed is 0, then throw an error, or you could just set a default. So oh whoops, yeah, so you can just set a default just in case, like me, when you're using it doesn't do anything. So yeah, 0.6, there you go. It kind of just flew down. I think if you slow it down a little bit, it might be a bit better. So let's see, game manager, I'm gonna slow it down a little bit because 0.6 is too much, but I'm going to do it in here. So I'm going to ball set max speed. I'm just gonna set it down to 0.1. So I think 0.1 you should be able to see it. Yeah, so there you go. So 0.1, that is 1/10 of the way from where it started in the middle all the way down to here. So what should happen is, because I don't have anything happening on collision other than changing the color, so there you go, the collision detection works, but nothing's happening when it collides because I didn't make it do anything. But yeah, there we go. So 0.1 is a little slow for the actual game, but for demo it makes a lot of sense. Now that I am sure it moves and everything, I want to try to make it bounce somewhere else. So the physics behind a bounce is not going to be accurate, because I've played several versions of this game, and sometimes, or no, actually I played the original on BlackBerry, where depending on which side of the paddle it lands on, it flies to a different side. And then there's ones I played where it just, I don't know what the logic is. Maybe it's just it just goes back the way it came from. That is probably simplest, so maybe I'll just do that first and I'll make it do something else later. Yeah, that's a good idea. So I'm just going to make it bounce back the way it came from first. And the reason I'm doing that is just to, it's the simplest one to implement, and it's, or the fastest one to implement. And so I already have a function here. I'm gonna leave the definitions for this on the screen. So on, what is it on? Oh, collision. So the interface collision has a is colliding and on collision. I should really add docs for this, but it kind of, I don't even know what to add. Hits a box. So anyways, so is colliding already is fine. It checks for collision. On collision is what I'm implementing. I will make it simple and just say the opposite direction of where it came from. So why do I need to take an object? You know, when I'm creating these interfaces, I feel like I have the plan in my head, but I forgot already. Why do I need to take the object? So instead, all I'm just going to do is you know what? I need to store where it's going. So actually, in update, I just lerp there, but that's a bad idea, because what if it's the same spot? So I'm just going to store a instance of where it's going. Target position. So now the target position, I would just make it a blank one. It's just gonna go to 0, 0. Again, putting in defaults is a lot better than throwing errors. So to be honest, this is not great. I should just log it and then I don't know. So I'm going to say if this, or if location does not equal to this dot position. So if I'm not trying to, or if the person using this isn't trying to go to its own position, like basically go nowhere, or how about this, equal to stop position. If we're trying to go to our own location, we'll just throw a new illegal argument here. Again, I will make a custom exception later. So going to same spot. And then now we're sure we're not going to ourselves. We're going to do location, this dot target location position equals to location. Oh man, I'm using these words interchangeably. Let's just rename this to, what the? What is wrong? Oh, okay, there we go. Ah, there we go. Okay. See, Java and the plugin that handles all of this is super janky. So I'm using NeoVim with the COC NVim, which is basically just porting over VS Code plugins to NeoVim. And the thing with this is that, I don't know, it just crashes sometimes. So I'll probably switch to IntelliJ IDEA, because sometimes it just completely, it takes way too long just to update symbols and stuff. Location, what is it? Let's just say new position. Or I mean, I could even just name it position, and that should be fine. Because I mean, we have this operator. So let's see. Now that I have checked we're not going to our own position, and we're going to move to our position, now we can say let's see, p-vector. I think there's a function for this. Whoops. Random add sub cross multiply lerp divide from angle between. Let me think. So maybe the input for the object is actually not what I want. So maybe I actually want to just figure out, on collision, I should make it bounce straight back to, it's an interesting problem. I should just make it bounce straight back, but I need a coordinate. Unfortunately, I'm working with the vector instead of a number. I mean, I could. Okay, I think instead of working with the input of object, which, to be honest, I don't know how useful that is, I'm going to change it to work with a instance of the window, so that I can just repoint it somewhere else. Repoint it somewhere else. So I think let's sure. Does anyone? Don't think. Let's see. Does anyone implement collision? So ball tests. So ball implements collision. Okay, no one else uses it, so I can just modify this. Instead of collision, I'm just going to do an instance of so p-applet is an instance of the screen being rendered. So it's like a combination of the JFrame and combination of basically all the objects inside. It kind of abstracts that all the way into this thing called p-applet. And so if I have a Now I'm thinking that's maybe not the best idea, because if I take the entire thing in, then I won't be able to easily separate the physics logic away from the rendering logic. Because in my mind, I was going to put it into separate threads, because the physics could basically happen independently. But if I use the p-applet, which is basically responsible for drawing stuff on the screen, if I use that, then I am putting too much things into the physics of collision. So maybe I'll undo that. Yeah, so I'll undo that, and instead what I'll do is, I don't think I figured it out, but I'm going to try something. So I'm going to add a second p vector, which is going to be the target direction. So this is going to be storing the heading, or the magnitude of basically where it's going. And let's just set this dot target direction equals to where are we. So this dot target position, this dot target position dot subtract my current position. And what happened? So subtract, I will get the let's see here. P vector cannot be resolved with time. Oh, I see. A subtract affects the, I need the static version so that I can get a new P vector. Oh, let's see. Okay, that's, so I am getting the, what am I getting? Where it's going. And then I will be, let's see. So now that I know where it's going, I will go there. I don't know if my math checks out, to be honest. This. So let's try this dot target equals to let's see. I can't do a negative. Let's see. Dot target direction towards see what I get when I do this, and then I may need to take this out. Update maybe should not. Update maybe shouldn't set the position. Update maybe should just change where it's going, and the position should just be a position. Yeah. Oh, that means I need to update both the ball and the paddle. Oh man. This is a lot more things than I thought. Doing it this way. So let's see. So I should remove position from update and then just set a new instead of setting just max speed, I should be able to set a target location, and then update should just handle moving. Yes. Okay. First of all, let's add the new function first. Void set target location, and it's going to take in a p vector of, keep using position and location. I really should just pick one, and so I want to the object is heading to ram position Cartesian coordinate 2D, and we'll leave that for now. So I should set target position and update. Oh, okay, I think that's enough for me for today, because yeah, I still have other work to work on. This is just a side project, but I want to probably get more of this stream setup thing working, and then I'll probably stream tomorrow. So yeah, thanks for staying with me, Just Beat Ya. I hope you're doing well in your classes, and yeah, I think I will stop here for today, and I will get back to it tomorrow.